博士，咱们也该动身了吧？
魔神的力量正在涌入雕像。
你的体内藏着什么？
这是什么功法？
何方妖魔，敢在天波城作乱？我都天的子民，来新世界吧！
Hello guys, how's everyone doing? Welcome back to my channel. Today we're checking out the Tales of Hurting Gods, episode 63 spoiler. This part gets pretty interesting, so I thought, why not share it with you guys? Alright then, let's jump straight into the story. The Taoist leading the Great Mountain sect froze, genuine shock flashing across his face. Junior brother, junior sisters, he muttered, then sucked in a sharp breath. This general may not know this, but our sect split its disciples into two groups and sent them to Deer County to invite the gods. We were lucky. One group actually succeeded in summoning a devil god, but the other group? He paused, voice turning grim. All of them were slaughtered. The devil god's statue, the talismans, even their clothes, everything was taken. Officer Lin Ding's face drained of color. He snapped his head up and blurted out, "If the ones summoning the devil right now aren't your Great Mountain sect disciples, then who in the world are they?" At that moment, the Taoist's eyes suddenly lit up. Faint chanting drifted through the air, from the direction of the city lord's manor. His expression turned ice cold. "I'd like to know that myself." His tone sharpened. "This is bad. Whoever's doing the summoning has already established a connection with the devil god's realm. There's no time. Move!" Officer Lin Ding's eye twitched as he broke into a run toward the city lord's manor, shouting as he went, voice cutting like a blade. "Young sect master, give the order. Execute those demons inside the city lord's manor immediately." Inside the city lord's manor, Quinn Mu felt his consciousness slip free, pulled straight into another world through the devil god's sculpture. Darkness swallowed everything. Endless, suffocating darkness. Then, suddenly, it stopped. Before him stretched a boundless void of time and space, and then an eye opened. A massive eye burning with scarlet flames tore itself open in the darkness. In front of it, Quinn Mu was nothing, less than nothing, a speck of dust. To his left, another colossal eye opened. Then a third eye split open above the first two. That third pupil slowly contracted, its gaze drifting, until it locked on Quinn Mu. That's when the voice came. "Weakling, you are summoning me, summoning the Dutian Devil King, ruler of the boundless territory of Dutian." The three eyes rose higher, drifting farther and farther away, yet somehow growing even more terrifying in scale. Only then did Quinn Mu notice something else. Light. A faint glow beside him. He realized he was standing on the altar, glowing white in the endless dark, like a lone lamp flickering in an infinite void. The altar and Quinn Mu upon it had crossed into another world entirely. "You are summoning my strength." The voice thundered from between the three eyes, distant yet overwhelming. Quinn Mu's consciousness shook violently, as if battered by waves. "You summon me to your world, to slaughter, to wage war." Quinn Mu steadied himself and bowed deeply. "Great Dutian Devil King, I pray for your descent. I will offer you thousands of powerful lives, every divine arts practitioner in Heaven Wave City." The three eyes erupted in raging flames. "So be it." The altar beneath Quinn Mu flared to life. Blinding rays shot out in every direction, and in an instant, the entirety of Heaven Wave City appeared within the darkness. Quinn Mu's heart slammed against his chest. The whole city was laid bare before his eyes. Every street, every building, even every person, what they wore, how they moved, even the smallest detail, nothing escaped his sight. Then it began. Figures vanished one after another. Soon only divine arts practitioners remained within the city. The ordinary people and martial artists below the Six Directions realm hadn't truly disappeared. They'd been marked. The Dutian devil god was confirming the sacrifices. Panic flared in Quinmu's chest. He quickly pointed at the dragon Kilin beside the altar. "Great Devil King, this dragon Kilin is not part of the sacrifice." The response came instantly. Cold. Absolute. "Shut up." And then, things took a hard turn. From behind those 3 massive eyes, another voice slid out, eerie and downright malicious. Qin barely had time to react before he saw it. 3 more gigantic eyes spinning open behind the first set. Yeah, that's never a good sign. "You have no right to command the Du-Tian Devil King," the voice sneered. "I'll borrow your consciousness to descend upon this city." Qin body locked up instantly, completely frozen. An incomparably terrifying force came crashing in from another world, like a tidal wave smashing straight through his mind. Boom! The sacrificial altar shook violently. Blood-red light exploded upward, shooting hundreds of yards into the sky. Qin was drowned in that crimson glow, and he could feel it, raw, horrifying power pouring through his consciousness, forcing its way toward the devil god's statue. The runes carved into the statue's surface twisted and writhed like living eyes, greedily absorbing the energy flooding in. Cracks spread everywhere, wood splintered, chunks flew in all directions. And then it started growing. The devil god's sculpture swelled larger and larger, dense light leaking from the Lie Hun. Inside the wooden shell, something horrifying took shape. Flesh. Actual flesh. Growing. In the blink of an eye, the statue shot up to dozens of yards tall, and it wasn't done yet. Qin felt his consciousness tearing apart. It wasn't just the power of the Du-Tian Devil King descending anymore. His will was coming too. Violent, sinister, irritable. Compared to his, Qin own consciousness felt like paper, like it could be crushed at any second. This Devil King didn't care whether Qin lived or died. He simply shoved his consciousness across distant time and space and poured it straight into the forming body below. The wooden statue finally gave up completely, shattering, collapsing, transforming into a massive body of flesh. Ka-cha! Ka-cha! Thunder rolled in every direction. Lightning tore through the sky, slamming down around the altar. Chen Wanyun and the others were forced to retreat again and again. Even the dragon Qilin and Hu Linger were driven back. The sheer pressure of that aura made it impossible to stand firm. Right beneath the devil god's feet, Qin body trembled violently. A Lie Hun split open between his brows, and sparks burst out, spraying light onto the devil god's body. Those sparks were the Du-Tian Devil King's consciousness, so overwhelming it nearly wiped Qin out completely. Blood streamed down his forehead, sizzling as it burned. He couldn't move, couldn't think. Then, right at the edge, he clenched his teeth and forced the Overlord Body 3 elixir technique into motion. For a moment, everything went blank, but then, relief. As the technique circulated, the crushing pressure eased just enough for him to survive, and weirdly, Qin could feel something extra being added into his body, something foreign, something dangerous. Before he could even process that, the sounds of slaughter shook the air. Spirit weapons flooded in like a storm of steel. There was no time to think. Boom! The ground thundered as the devil god slammed his raised foot down. Buildings in the city lord's manor collapsed instantly, reduced to rubble by sheer vibration alone. The spirit weapons didn't even get close. They were obliterated mid-air. Devil withdraw command! Taoists rushed in from outside. The leading Taoist froze for a split second when he saw the scene, then his eyes burned with fury. More than a dozen Taoists slapped the rune pouches at their waists, sending countless strips of yellow joss paper into the air. Each paper was inscribed with strange, unfamiliar runes. They linked together head to tail, forming a massive yellow screen, one enormous, impossibly complex character. This was the great mountain sect's secret art, Devil Withdraw Command. The Taoists chanted in unison, vital key surging as they activated the formation. The giant rune blazed and fired straight toward the Du-Tian Devil King. For a heartbeat, It worked. The light struck the devil god's body, and instantly every one of his eyes snapped open. A bolt of lightning shot from his gaze, shredding the devil withdraw command like paper. The Taoists caught in that light didn't have time to scream. They turned to ash on the spot. But in that brief instant, just that one moment, Qin Mu felt it. The pressure at his brow vanished, like a mountain lifted off his soul. He regained control of his body and didn't hesitate for even a second. He turned and retreated, knowing he'd survived by the narrowest margin imaginable. Even as they escaped, Qin Mu's mind was racing. Something felt off. This devil god he'd summoned? Completely different from what he expected. It didn't listen to him, didn't negotiate, didn't even care if Qin Mu lived or died. This wasn't some ordinary devil god playing by rules. This thing was pure destruction. So yeah, what exactly had he dragged into the world? "No more fighting! Retreat!" Qin Mu shouted. He rushed over to the others and yelled, "Big dragon! True form, now! Get us out of this city!" The dragon Qilin roared, and a wave of scorching heat blasted outward. Yu Qinghong and Yan Kui were sent flying. Chen Wanyun and the wolf slave staggered back a few steps, while Si Yunxiang just swayed in place. Rock solid. Then the dragon Qilin unleashed everything. His body swelled violently, true fire wrapping around him like a living storm. In seconds, he transformed into a colossal beast over 400 feet long, taller than the city tower itself. Every movement crushed the air around him, explosions cracking non-stop from sheer pressure alone. Yeah, that big. Qin Mu flashed to Yu Qinghong and Yan Kui, grabbed them both, and in a blur of steps leapt onto the dragon Qilin's back. Chen Wanyun and Si Yunxiang followed instantly. "Go!" Qin Mu shouted. "As fast as you can!" Fire clouds erupted beneath the dragon Qilin as he shot into the sky, but just as they started gaining distance, a voice boomed from behind them, shaking the air itself. "Run? Where do you think you're going?" Dutian Devil King's laughter rolled like thunder. "Someone finally summoned me. I didn't pass down the spells of Dutian for nothing. I'll build a sacrificial altar right here, open a passage, summon my true body, and the people of Dutian will descend. Ha ha ha! You will all become skeletons on my altar." A massive hand reached out. The air froze. The dragon Qilin was locked in place mid-flight, flames raging uselessly beneath him as he struggled but couldn't move an inch. And just when it looked like they were done, roar! A dragon's roar ripped through the sky. A middle-aged man came charging in, riding a flood dragon, slamming straight into the Dutian Devil King. The flood dragon coiled around the devil god's body, spewing lightning and fire point-blank into his face. On its head stood the rider, sword blazing as he stabbed again and again. The pressure vanished. The dragon Qilin broke free instantly and rocketed upward. Qin Mu finally exhaled, heart pounding. The dragon rider sect's dragon king, he made it. Rah! The Dutian Devil King roared back. All four of his faces opened their mouths at once, unleashing a shockwave so violent it made the earth tremble. All across Heavenwave City, people bled from their eyes, ears, and noses. The dragon Qilin's body shook violently. Then all 12 of the Devil King's eyes lit up. Lightning crisscrossed the sky, slicing through the air like blades. Experts rushing in were torn apart instantly. One bolt slammed straight into the dragon Qilin's rear. He howled in pain and dropped out of the sky. Thankfully, his hide was thick enough to save his life. He crashed into the city, shrinking as he stumbled forward. Qin Mu and the others jumped down just in time, turning to see the Dutian Devil King laughing as he swept through the city lord's manor. I was the one who taught the ghost-transferring, God-dispatching runes command, he mocked. You weaklings didn't expect that, did you? I'll use your corpses to build my altar and bring my true body here. The people of Dutian will descend upon this world. Yu Qinghan stared in shock, his voice hollow. Academic, what kind of devil did you summon? Qin Mu could only stare back, just as stunned. I honestly don't know. He didn't hesitate after that. We're leaving, now. Long Jianan is coming. They didn't waste a second. The group moved fast, dragging the dragon Keelan with them, but it was obvious he was hurt. His legs weren't cooperating anymore. Before anyone could panic, Hulinger jumped straight onto Kinmu's back and started chanting. A tornado answered her call, roaring into existence, scooping up the injured dragon Keelan and carrying him along inside the whirlwind. Quick thinking, because there was no way he was running like that. Behind them, Heaven Wave City was falling apart. The entire city, built along the mountains by the river, was collapsing piece by piece. And the worst part? The Dutian Devil King wasn't even rushing. While fighting off wave after wave of powerful experts, he casually used the flesh and bones of the people he killed to build his sacrificial altar. Yeah, let that sink in. Bloody bones and skulls flew through the air, stacking themselves beneath his feet, forming layers at an insane speed. And this wasn't even his true body. That thing was still sitting in Dutian. What had descended here was just his consciousness and power, and even that was already stronger than cult master level experts. How is that even fair? Heaven Wave City wasn't short on power either. The Dragon Rider sect's Dragon King wasn't alone. There were Life and Death Realm experts, Divine Bridge Realm experts, big names, heavy hitters, and even when they all attacked together, they were completely overwhelmed, getting injured one after another. As for the army stationed in the city, it was a disaster. Thousands of divine arts practitioners were crippled by the Devil King's roars alone. Countless others were wiped out by the terrifying gaze of his 12 eyes. The city dissolved into pure chaos. Soldiers fled in every direction. No formation, no order. Some even jumped straight into the river in desperation, only to be smashed to pieces against the cliffs by the monstrous waves of the surging river. These weren't trained soldiers in the real sense. Most were sect disciples playing at being an army. Faced with something like this, their morale shattered instantly. Forget formations, forget cooperation. Everyone just wanted to survive. Kinmu couldn't help comparing it to the past. Back beyond the Great Wall, 800 prairie experts had once worked together to wear down Chancellor Ba Shan's heavenly spirit's escarpment, forcing even a cult master to retreat. If Heaven Wave City's thousands had truly cooperated, maybe they could have held the Dutian Devil King back for a moment. But they were like loose sand. Survival came first. Kinmu glanced back and spotted Long Jianan sprinting desperately behind them, then blinked. Wait, he wasn't chasing them at all. Oh, Kinmu realized, almost amused despite everything. He's running for his life too. Boom! A terrifying shockwave exploded behind them. Buildings disintegrated mid-air. Kinwu and the others were thrown upward like ragdolls, while countless people were flung in every direction, limbs flailing helplessly. Boom! Boom! 2 more shockwaves slammed into them while they were still airborne. Kinmu spat out blood and instantly pulled Hu Ling-er off his back, hugging her tightly to shield her from the vibrations. The 4th wave hit. Kinmu grunted and forcefully activated the Overlord Body 3 elixir technique. His body and soul hardened instantly, but even then he was blasted away. Thud. He slammed into the ground, rolling several times before crashing into a forest. Above him, the gale screamed past, slicing treetops clean off like they were paper, just the aftermath of divine arts from the battlefield. Blood dripped from the corner of Kinmu's mouth. His chest felt crushed, air refusing to go in. For a terrifying moment, he couldn't breathe. Then suddenly he gasped, a sharp pop echoing inside his chest. Yeah, something was definitely damaged. Panting, he pulled Hulinger out of his arms. She was badly hurt and completely unconscious. Kinmu didn't hesitate. He grabbed a Yade bottle from his Tauti sack, pried her mouth open, and carefully dripped a few drops of dragon saliva. Moments later, her eyelids fluttered open. She looked dazed, then her eyes filled with tears. I lost Big Dragon. Kinmu's heart sank. The dragon Keelan had been floating inside Hulinger's tornado because he couldn't walk, but those earlier shockwaves had shattered her spell and blown the dragon Keelan far, far away. Chinmu quickly tried to calm her down. Hey, it's fine. Big Dragon just took a hit on the butt. Nothing fatal. He'll heal on his own. Though, yeah, I'm not sure how he's supposed to lick that spot. He sighed, then added, Besides, I've lost track of Chen Wanyun and the others too. Hulinger sniffled. Big Dragon is priceless, she said through tears. Chen Wanyun and the rest? Totally worthless. Chinmu pushed himself upright, circulating his vital qi and forcing the trapped blood out of his chest. After steadying his breathing, he scooped her up. All right, let's go find them. And right then, his body froze. Trees began snapping deep within the forest. Something massive was moving. Branches were shoved aside as a gigantic snake slowly slithered out, flattening everything in its path. Chinmu's heart sank instantly. He recognized it. That was the very snake that had destroyed Heaven Wave City he and Wei Yang once traveled on. Long Jionan's beast. Rough coughing echoed from above. Chinmu looked up and saw a beautiful man sitting on the flat head of the snake, clothes in tatters, coughing up blood. His once flawless appearance was a mess, makeup smeared, robe full of holes, exhaustion written all over him. You destroyed Heaven Wave City, destroyed my Dragon Rider sect. Long Jionan staggered to his feet atop the snake's head. He looked like he wanted to cry but couldn't. His gaze locked onto Chinmu, and Chinmu felt a chill crawl up his spine as he instinctively stepped back. This was someone who had fought elite cavalry and imperial guards head-on and still escaped untouched. A real monster. Who are you? Long Jionan screeched as the giant flowery crowned snake raised its head and stared down at Chinmu. Did the Eternal Peace Imperial Prepot send you? Chinmu didn't answer. Instead, he slipped behind a massive tree and vanished. Long Jionan screamed and reached out. Vital qi condensed into a giant hand and smashed the tree into splinters, but Chinmu was already gone. Panic flashed across Long Jionan's face. He thrust both hands forward and the ground shook violently. Sharp stone spikes erupted everywhere, turning dozens of yards into a deadly forest of rock. Run, he hissed. You can't run. The giant snake crushed the stone spikes as it advanced. Meanwhile, Long Jionan's body twisted unnaturally atop the snake's head. Then something horrifying happened. His head split open. Then his face. A second head emerged. Moments later, he shed an entire layer of human skin and stepped out completely renewed. He calmly retrieved fresh clothes, put them piece by piece, and chuckled while scanning the forest. I know you're still nearby. I can feel your gaze, watching me. 300 yards away, Chinmu crouched silently in the treetops, staring in disbelief. Dragon Rider sect techniques are insane, he thought. Shedding skin, rebuilding the body? Then another thought hit him. Wait, they said Long Jionan was the Dragon King's son, so why does that body look... He stopped himself immediately. This was not the time. When Chinmu had vanished earlier, he'd used teleportation at the last second, barely escaping a killing strike. But his cultivation was limited, 600 yards at most. He was still trapped in this forest. What truly unsettled him was this. Long Jionan had been badly injured before, but after shedding that skin, not a single wound remained. Chinmu didn't dare blink. The tiniest movement could expose his position, and against someone with divine arts this overwhelming? Yeah, no chance, not even close. Right now, survival meant staying perfectly still, and praying Long Jionan didn't look up. Here was the problem. Chinmu couldn't keep doing this forever. That teleporting outfit of his? 3, maybe 4 jumps max before his cultivation ran dry. After that, he'd be stuck. And once that happened, yeah, Long Jiaonan would end him on the spot. Worse, he couldn't even keep watching her. Experts at her level didn't just rely on sight, they felt intent. Follow the gaze, trace the killing intent, lock on the target. One careless stare, and he was done. Long Jiaonan stood there calmly, still dressing, her back turned. Then, goosebumps rippled up the back of her neck. She chuckled softly. "You're staring at my neck," she said. "Does it look nice?" Qinmu's pupils shrank. The goosebumps tightened into a single point. She had him. Boom! Qinmu yanked his cloak up just as an explosion tore through the air beside his head. His figure vanished in the blast. Long Jiaonan's shirt was still half-buttoned as she snapped her hand back, eyes flashing. The massive snake beneath her surged forward at full speed, but there was nothing, no trace at all. Then she looked up. There. A figure was sprinting desperately through the sky, stepping on air like his life depended on it, because it did. "You can't run!" she screeched. Demonic mist exploded from the snake's body as it lifted into the air, chasing Qinmu like a living nightmare. Mid-flight, both of them saw it. Heaven Wave City was gone. Not damaged, not ruined, erased. Where the mountain city once stood, there was now a colossal sacrificial altar, built entirely from blood, bones, and skulls. Qinmu's breath caught. That's what it became? At the center stood the Dutian Devil King. He was fighting two people. One was the Dragon Rider Sex Dragon King riding his Flood Dragon. The other was a terrifying Cultmaster level expert at the Divine Bridge Realm. Even together, they were barely holding on. One wrong move and they'd be wiped out. The devil language pouring from the Dutian Devil King was far deeper, far more ancient than anything Qinmu had used to summon him. This was the real thing. Then, the sky above Heaven Wave City began to twist. It warped, spiraled. Thunder cracked. Lightning split the heavens, and the sky ripped open. Beyond the tear was endless darkness. Something moved inside it. And then, a two-headed bogeyman shot out of the vortex, hovering in midair. It turned back and shouted twice into the darkness. Bzzz. The sky turned black. Countless dark figures poured out like a living flood, swarming toward Heaven Wave City. Heaven devils. Tens of thousands of them. They slaughtered each other as they descended, bodies raining down like meat and bone, piling onto the sacrificial altar, making it grow even larger. Blood began falling from the sky like rain. Some devils, clearly higher ranked, descended holding scepters. They landed around the altar and began chanting in an ancient, incomprehensible devil language. Instantly, brilliant runes filled the sky above the altar, glowing with terrifying beauty. Qinmu's eye twitched as he stared at the scene. It feels like I might have caused something even worse than paralyzing the entire Imperial College. Yeah, that realization hit hard. So guys, that was the episode 63 spoiler. If you enjoyed it, make sure to hit the like button and tell me in the comments which episode you want next. And if you're new to the channel, don't forget to subscribe. I'll see you in the next video. Bye guys!